party tonight! What? TV party tonight!
Oh, we got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated, yes.
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my crickets!
Everybody loves Hypnotoad.
Scary dog!
Pearson at Blurnsville.
Futurama!
Good evening. You are listening to a Radulich Broadcasting Premier Podcast TV Party Tonight. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And tonight, our favorite show is Chip and Dale. No, not that kind. The animated ones. Keep the focus, people. Chip and Dale Park Life. Brought to you by the good people at Xilam Studios and the Walt Disney Company France. This aired July 28th on Disney Plus for 12 episodes of 3 shorts apiece at about 7 minutes. The final one of season 1 aired October 13th, 2021. Here to discuss all things animated and sometimes not, ladies and gentlemen, from Honeysuckle Rose Creations, Alexis, Hejna. How do you do, madam?
Doing well. And to those who are following us live, happy Veterans Day today. God bless those who have served. Some gave all gave some.
All right. Very nice. So you and I think they announced this during the May drop of shows. When they said, hey, this is when Loki's going to premiere, The Bad Batch, Monsters, whatever it was called. I can't remember. We just reviewed it. The Monsters, Inc. show. At like the very end of that announcement, they were like, oh, and Chip and Dale Park Life. And you and I talked about it, and we were like, oh, you know what? We've really been enjoying the wonderful world of Mickey Mouse. We should check out this Chip and Dale show. Not what I expected. It was a little different.
Definitely not, although I do remember getting a little confused because they did mention, I want to say it was at the Disney's investors meeting, that they were working on a new Chip and Dale feature, which was going to have the voices of John Mulaney as Chip and Andy Samberg as Dale, which I got crazy excited for, partly because I adore John Mulaney. He's one of my favorite comedians. And then when this came out, I was like, yes, but then when I started watching, I was like, oh, wait, this is something else. So it's like, I think I got a little overly excited because I thought this was something else. Not that this is a bad product. It's not, but I'm sitting here kind of going, so where's the feature I was promised?
I think they're still working on it. I think that's the Rescue Rangers live action film.
Normally, I'm not a fan of that kind of a thing, but again, John Mulaney and Andy Samberg as Chip and Dale. I'm sorry, it just sounds too damn good.
It does, and I'm sure we'll talk about it once it eventually comes out. You know, Disney. Just a real quick aside: Disney Plus, like a lot of the streaming services, they were playing catch up, and they kind of just threw it out there with thinking, oh, well, our archive will get us through until we can get some of these things that exclusive content produced. I think the lesson they learned was no one knew the pandemic was coming was the other part of it, but just the idea that the thing that draws people to these streaming services is the exclusive content, and they just didn't have enough of it to start with. It's dribbling out now, and things are going at a fine pace. But hi, Jonas.
I'm actually watching this on TV.
Oh, okay, cool. And thanks for supporting us. Get out of here.
And no less worse than the Labrador currently resting on my head.
So so the reason I brought that up is I think Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers was something that they'd wanted to do, but it's in development now or in some stages of pre-production. In any case, back to Chip and Dale Park Life. So the thing about this is, watching the old Chip and Dale cartoons, to your recollection, I don't think there were very many that were just them. They seem to have a lot of interactions with Donald Duck, or at the very least Pluto. I don't remember them necessarily having individualized shorts to themselves, or if they did, it was very few.
Yeah, I'm actually looking up their Wikipedia page here. Let's see here. They were only in 23 animated shorts in classic Disney, and yeah, most of them they were paired up with Pluto, Mickey, or most often Donald.
Right.
Just something about them harassing Donald and driving him nuts.
Oh, one of my favorite Donald Duck cartoons is the one where he's making the nut butter.
Mhm.
You know, I can't, and I remember like that was actually attached to maybe like a feature film of collected shorts or something. I just remember like I watched that. I had it on VHS as a kid, and that was one of the ones I watched the crap out of.
I actually had the one where they hide in the tree that Mickey chops down for a Christmas tree, and Mickey doesn't realize it, but Pluto does, and Pluto's trying desperately to get him out without destroying all the Christmas decorations.
Yeah, one of them dresses up as the candle, and then he's like, "Okay, we'll light the candles," and he keeps blowing it out. That's a classic one. We watch that every Christmas.
That is a good one. Very good for the holidays.
You could somewhat make out what Chip and Dale were saying in those shows. A lot of it was mild gibberish, but some of it was intelligible.
I think most of it was, let's see here. It looks like, they had a couple of specific voice actors in the 40s and 50s. Jimmy McDonald, Billy Bletcher, Ann Lloyd, and Helen Silbert for most of the shorts. And yeah, I guess they just had them say their lines, and they sped up the footage as quickly as they could. Not unheard of for voice acting at the time.
The comic duo setup here was classic. Chip was the straight man. Dale was the dopey, the dopey funny one, and you could tell because he had buck teeth and a big nose. He had
the red clown nose, to be specific. He was the clown.
Yes. And so Chip was always very, very focused. They were the odd couple. You know, one was Felix and one was Oscar. Chip was always very focused and very like straight-laced and like, we must get the nuts in the tree. This is the objective. And then, Dale was, wandering off into the forest, messing with Donald, goofing around. There was a lot of, and then, there was always a bop on the head. I bring that up because Chip and Dale Park Life kind of messes with that dynamic a bit.
Just a little bit. This one, while Dale does have, I think, more shorts where he is the clown and Chip is the straight man, we get a handful more where they're either on equal footing, and there's a couple where Chip is the one who makes the mistakes.
Yeah, like this is not a dramatic series by any stretch of the imagination, but there were definitely some shorts here where put some sad piano music in there and, and intelligible dialogue, and Chip is having a time. Like if I play a drinking game, every time one of these two characters burst into tears, you will have kidney failure and liver poisoning by the time you're done. Like there's a lot where he's really struggling in these, like over dramatically, which was a bit of a shock for me.
Yeah, try to take a drink every time they do the happy dance, and you will die.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so what do you know about this studio? Anything? This Xilam?
Not that much. Here, I'm going to actually... Xilam Animation here. Marc Dupovis and his brother Alexis founded in 1999 as a replacement for the animation division of Gaumont Multimedia. I do know some French, but I am probably massacring that. Most of the products that I'm seeing here are European or French only. It does look like they worked on the 2019 Mr. Magoo series in collaboration with Classic Media. But other than that, I'm seeing things like Dragonfly, Sky Dancers, Space Goofs, Augie and the Cockroaches. So yeah, it looks like most of their products stayed overseas. The animation in this is quite good. It has a really unique style that separates it. It gives a really good homage to classic Disney animation, but it's still its own. I think the best version you can see of that actually is in the animation of Pluto, who is given a much more
sharper.
What? I'm sorry. What?
Sharper.
You say sharper. I actually say more. As weird as it sounds, more toony design. He's got his legs are a little bit more string bean. He's got slightly bigger paws.
I feel like the classic Disney animation, and I don't know what the artistic term for this is everything is very round, very circular. Like if you've ever seen an artist composing a sketch, and they start with the bare bones of it. Sometimes it's shaded lines. Some of them use circles. It's a series of circles, and they sort of composite the circles on top of each other until they have a figure.
Mhm.
Disney style animation always felt like the latter, and this doesn't. This doesn't feel like a series of circles.
No, it doesn't. It's still really good, though. I was very
Mhm.
impressed with the background work. There's a short that we'll discuss coming up here where they get lost in a bramble bush that to them
Mhm.
comes across like a jungle, and I was blown away by the textures in the background. You have a lot of work where it has kind of a feel of classic Chuck Jones with the
Mhm.
stamp effect.
Yeah.
If you think about like, oh, what is it, Robin Hood Daffy in the background, how the backgrounds were stamped out, like
Mhm.
almost like a rubber stamper effect. You get a little bit of that here, and it really pops against the front ground animation. I really liked it.
So before we'll jump into the episodes now. Before we do, I had to watch this in 2 or 3 parts, and the first clunk of it I watched with my son, and we had a good time watching it. We both laughed. I will say this: it's a little repetitive, and this is one of those things where I think that, and we've talked a little bit about this with the Wonderful World of Mickey and some other things. When it's not a coherent story, and each episode is a chapter of said story, and it's just it's episodic, in that it's a setup, a gag, a setup, a resolution. We're out of it, and then we're out of the short again. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. If you remember as a kid, you used to watch maybe a half an hour of these things, and there were maybe a 3-episode setup, a 3 short setup. But then that was it. That was all you got. You didn't watch these things for 12 hours at a time.
Exactly. Well, hell, think about Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner
Yeah.
cartoons. How that's a strict pattern.
Right. And I think we talked about this with Looney Tunes, where I'm getting to the point where I have to take a break with these things because
Mhm.
I don't think these are meant to be digested all at once. I don't feel like these are bingeable series. They're not meant to be that way. These are meant to put them on for an hour or so, turn them off, walk away, do something else, come back later. But because we consume so much content and talk about it here, I can't really do that. So I know you like to do that with them, like the Marvel shows. You watch them, one episode a week. But yeah, I may have to change my strategy with some of these cartoon shows. Like this was driving me nuts after a while.
Yeah, I tried to binge this whole thing actually yesterday.
Mhm.
The plan was to have it on while I was working in my office. And okay, so this is entirely nonverbal, which
Mhm.
is not a bad thing.
Right.
I kind of harken this back to classic Pink Panther cartoons
Yeah.
or Roadrunner Coyote cartoons. There is no dialogue, there's no text.
Mhm.
Um, everything is produced through emotion and just gestures, which is really creative and is a great. I think this is also a really good show that you could show to younger audiences because they don't need to follow the dialogue and understand specifically what's being said.
Yes.
But oh my God, Chip and Dale's patter just after a while becomes so unbearable. Not to mention, it's not just chatter, 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 chatter. There's kind of a dialogue in there. You can
Right.
hear something being said. It's not French. It's not English. Although you do pick up occasionally. I think I heard them say each other's names once or twice.
Mhm.
And there's an episode where you can hear Dale saying pizza
Right.
because he's going after pizza. But when you try to watch this all at once, your mind actually starts to try to pull together what they're saying, and you try to make sense of this fake language.
Yeah. This is
surreal.
this is a show that I think could be best appreciated in short spurts by a 3, 4, or 5-year-old.
Mhm.
And while I enjoyed it as an adult, and my son, he's 7 years old, he enjoyed it. Like we only watched maybe this for like an hour or two before I had to stop and go do something else, and that's about all I could take. When I was trying to cram it all in to finish in time for the review today, I was like, I just want this to be over. And like, it's a great show. And so my complaining is more of how I digested the material, not the material itself. All right. So July 28th, we kick things off with that thou shalt nut and steal. The baby whisperer, which is hysterical, by the way, and it takes 2 to tangle. All right, so short A, Dale takes acorns from a vendor cart protected by Pluto to feed himself, and Chip, only for Chip to realize they just took food from Pluto's pups. Pluto hunts them down for stealing the acorns. In the baby whisperer, Chip and Dale bond with babies in the park playpen, but Chip has difficulty bonding with a particularly angry baby dressed in a unicorn onesie, accidentally causing a baby stampede in the process. And then finally, Chip and Dale accidentally get their tails knitted together when Chip does his daily exercise and cleaning while Dale still attached. Dale tries but fails to undo the knitting, leading the Chip to believe that Dale doesn't want him anymore. Oh my God! So this is a great example of how sad the show gets at times. Like, I come watching this and Chip's like, and they're connected by their tails. It's like, I don't want to be connected by like, I love you, but I don't want to be connected by the tail anymore. And and the poor thing starts crying, and I'm like, what am I watching here?
It's interesting because that's a classic story arc that we have seen in
TV shows Chip and Dale Park Life.
Thank you.
I was going to say, Alexa, do we need a third commentary microphone set up here?
We might go.
Yeah, no, that's a storyline that we have seen in hundreds of other cartoons where two characters who love each other accidentally get stuck together and they have to learn that they love each other. They just don't want to be bonded together.
Right.
Although I do remember the one point when the other animals decide to take inspiration from them and you get the frogs who knit their tongues together. I'm like, oh God. Even I'm just watching going, how do you not see this as a disaster?
Yeah, I watched that and I was not like all the way grossed out by it, but definitely like it's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, the Thou Shalt Not Steal one was a little weird for me though, because as adorable as Pluto's pups are and sweet molasses they are, I think at one point I was just like, when do dogs eat nuts?
Yeah, that whole 7-minute short was a bit of a stretch for me. And I remember like I put this on and I was kind of passively watching it with Jonas. And I might have been like looking down at my phone and I looked up again and Pluto, and Pluto was going after them. Like, they stole nuts from the dogs. And I had the same question, like, when do dogs eat nuts? Like this seemed a bit of a reach for a plot.
Yeah, it also took me a while because I know that the description says acorns, but I'm pretty sure that was a hazelnut cart.
Yeah, either way, like not to be nitpicky, but it would have made more sense if it had been, because I've actually seen Chip and Dale do this where they're storing nuts, but somebody has something better. They have a hot dog. And I think even in one of the later shorts, something of this nature does happen. But like, what if the dogs had been eating hot dogs, sausages or whatever, and Dale just kind of one of and like tosses the nut aside, and now it was going with that, and Chip's like, no, please don't antagonize the dogs.
Exactly.
And they've done stuff like that before, and it's like, to me that was the obvious get here, and they didn't go for it. The baby stampede one cracked me up. Like, I was like, if the knitting one kind of breaks my heart because I don't like to see cute cartoon chipmunks cry, which is half of this damn series. And then nut one made a little to no sense to me, and I was like, for a 7-minute short, I don't know how I got lost. The baby one had me in tears laughing.
Although
Go ahead, Alexis. Ignore my son.
I hate to say it. Andre came in when I was watching that one, and he happened to come in right at the moment where Chip offers himself as a pacifier to the baby, and he was just like, "What are you watching?"
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, what the hell are we watching? Is a common thought as I watch this entire series. Episode 2, the whole package: bird brains and acorn in my side. Chip gets obsessed to get a nut wrecker from a delivery locker, while Dale gets delighted with the contents. Bird brains. Chip's good intended actions make him ending up being banished from the park by a very suspicious Dale. An acorn in my side. Chip is unable to reach a mysterious acorn that becomes sinister and possibly supernatural, and gets hypnotized by it, tricking him to retrieve him from a dangerous branch Dale tried to keep him away from, and now must both try to save themselves from the haunting. Go ahead. Go ahead and talk about which one of these you want. I barely remember. Like, I vaguely remember these, and I kind of remember being laughing and being entertained by it, but not enough to make a comment.
Well, first of all, Bird Brains, I think, was the one where I started to go, wait, what age group is this for? Because this one starts off with Dale thinking that Chip has committed a murder because he's got raspberry juice all over him, and it looks like blood. And I was just watching going, okay, so this was clearly not meant for little kids. Good to know.
Right.
Um,
The gibberish cartoon, with
Mhm.
with the very simple animation style, clearly meant for adults.
Oh, absolutely. But then you have the whole package, which introduces a reoccurring character on the show who I do want to talk about, and that's Clarice the Chipmunk. Clarice is actually a character who was introduced previously in the. Hang on a second. What year did that freaking short come out? It's a short called Two Chips and a Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. I'm having trouble finding it, but it either came out in the 40s or 50s, and she was the love interest for both Chip and Dale. She is portrayed as a lounge singer
Mm-hmm.
who's got a flower in her hair, hence why you could see, I guess she's got like a flower buzzed into the side of her head.
Yeah,
She's doing the mohawk
I had
thing.
trouble figuring out because of the way Clarice is portrayed in the show as muscular and tough, and and I couldn't figure out what gender that chipmunk was, and it didn't really matter to me. But to say you sent me the video of Clarice in a classic one, and I'm like, yeah, they really butched her up then for this.
Absolutely. It kind of made me laugh because Clarice says, I think when I remember looking back on it, I was like, ah, yes, the face that launched 1,000 furries. She was. There's no
Okay.
question. She was. It's like that scene from the classic Animaniacs when Minerva Mink answers the door in her bathrobe. Okay, we all know what they're going for and who's going to respond to this.
Sure.
And yeah, it's really interesting the way they changed her up because it's kind of the evolution we have seen of female characters. Back in the day, we had female characters were the love interest. They were
Right.
the love interest, or they were the Smurfette principal. They were the singular girl of the group. And that has become less and less in the case in modern times. And I'm not against.
Now everyone feels like Daria.
Not just Daria. I think the best example is Sandy the Chipmunk from SpongeBob, who is
Sure.
a pretty well-developed character. But yeah, I always find it interesting. I'm not against the development of the female characters at all, but I do find it very interesting how nowadays female characters in animated shows, it's like the creators are afraid to make them love interests or feminine and attractive and sexy like that.
Well, that's why I said Daria. Daria, and I'm not even on her own show. On her own show, she was the star of it, and and they were going for a very particular thing in the early to mid '90s when Daria was a thing, and I get that. I actually very much enjoyed the Daria cartoon show.
Oh yeah, I got it on DVD.
But Daria as an extra character in Beavis and Butthead, she here are these two idiots. Who were the stars of this thing, and the voice of a generation, which tells you a lot about that generation. But she was put upon. She was, clearly smarter than these two idiots, and never gets the credit that she deserves. And she's just sort of, she is characterized, in a way of like she's in this world having to suffer morons that she shouldn't have to, and I feel like that's always the setup for a lot of television shows where the guys are the focus and the women are just sort of, shruggingly putting up with them. And the audience should come away with, but they shouldn't have to. And how put upon that woman is that she has to suffer such fools. That's what I mean. Clarice comes across a little bit, not in the dour sense, but in she has to suffer these two idiots, Chip and Dale sense. Especially later on where they're doing the gag where they're remodeling the tree, and she's doing all the work for Dale, and Dale's taking the credit for it because he wants to impress Chip. And it's like, okay, we get it. Clarice can do everything, and these two idiots can barely, tie their shoes. We got it. And it's like, it's an interesting tack for a show like this.
And like I said, it's just interesting. The other example I always go to is, and not advocating this was a good show because it wasn't, but Thundercats Roar, that very short-lived version of Thundercats came out like 1 or 2 years ago using the CalArts Steven Universe inspired
Yes.
art style. They had Chitara, and all of a sudden Chitara, who has gone from undoubtedly the sexy character, that's what we all knew her as in the 80s. Now she is, well, she's not sexy. She looks very similar to the other characters now. She's just more streamlined.
I know because you don't like that art style. You didn't watch the Aquaman show, but if you did, I would say your description of Chitara was a lot like Mira from Aquaman King of Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where there's just no sex appeal at all, but she's, you know, spunky, go get him. I don't need no man, punchy character. Something along those lines.
Like I said, I'm not against the evolution of the characters, far from it, but it is very interesting how the evolution has gone from, you know, the Smurfette sex symbol to don't even think of me as a girl kind of a thing.
This could go for another hour in discussing how just entertainment in general seems to try to be struggling and coping and failing with how to portray women on screen, but that is not what we're here to discuss. So
no, we're here to discuss animated chipmunks.
Yep. Episode 3, The Jungle, which you were alluding to before, the flight and deep dive. While trying to retrieve a fruit, a couple of rabbits lost while playing. Chip and Dale get lost in a bush that looks like a jungle from the inside. This is a fantastic one. The flight, Chip uses Dale to test different ways to reach a cherry tree planted in a building roof far from the park by flying. In deep dive, Chip and Dale dive into the depths of the water pond to get a giant golden acorn they dropped, while Chip tries to dive into his mind looking for solutions. Okay, I love the jungle one. This one plays a lot with perspective, which is fun. So, you know, you look at it and it's just a small thicket, like you said before. But to the chipmunks, they are lost in this vast jungle, and and there is just every manner of beast out to get them. There's like a prying mantis, you know, that sort of thing. You know, this is a throwback to the old like early 20th century jungle films. You know, white man goes into the jungle and takes on all manner of beast and that sort of thing. But they're doing it with these two cartoon chipmunks, which I thought was funny. The other two I barely remember.
Yeah, the jungle is probably my favorite of them, especially because you get the gag where Dale actually finds a way out. And he's like, Chip, you know, come on, let's go. But Chip is so caught up in the whole, we have to survive this. Thank you. That hurt. You know, that Dale just gives up, leaves, goes back to the tree, and Chip's trying to survive this. Dale's freaking, you know, giving himself a pedicure in their treehouse. It just killed me. I absolutely love that. The flight
that's another example though of like Chip being, you know, what's the line? Did you ever see the made-for-TV movie about the making of the life of Roseanne Barr?
No, I didn't.
Okay, there's a bit where she rewrites the script for the day, and the line she uses, why I'm remembering this, the line she's like, it's like, you give Jackie, oh god, what's the word she uses? It doesn't matter. It's like, you give Jackie everything and there's nothing left for me. We need to rewrite this. And it's like, this is yet another example of like, well, Dale would normally be the one who would be caught up in the adventure and the excitement, and Chip being the one to drag him out and just kind of being fed up with the whole thing. They reversed it.
Yeah, no, it is really enjoyable. Like I said, the animation in this one is just really gorgeous. Love the use of perspective. Hell, you even get a really great perspective shot when Chip tries to hide from a daddy long legs.
Yeah, that's I think, didn't there one where they get caught up in a web? There's a bit where I feel like they get, or am I thinking of? I might be thinking of something.
You're thinking of the one with the mafia squirrel and the spider.
Yes.
Shooter. Yes, folks, this show has a mafia squirrel.
Mafia chipmunk. So good.
I did enjoy the flight for the most part. At first it's a little predictable, but then they actually find basically, I guess it's like an aerosol can that they strap to Dale straps to his back, and he presses down on it with his ears, which is cute, and he can fly with it. And then all of a sudden he refuses to let Chip fly with it.
Right.
And then Chip takes it. And what do you know? Chip's a horrible pilot. Straight man must suffer.
Agency. That's the word I was looking for. They keep giving Chip all the agency, and Dale just seems to be the one just sort of like having to cope with Chip's eccentricities, and it's like, that's not the dynamic here. Why did they give Chip Dale all of Dale's agency? It's a really weird dynamic.
And but like I said, the flight is pretty good if you're. It gives you a healthy dose of slapstick. So if you just like watching chipmunks get hurt, what the hell's wrong with you? But you're
hell of
gonna
a sell
laugh.
job. If you like seeing animals be abused, this is the show for you. Episode 4, A Nut You Can't Refuse. Speaking of the mafia squirrel, Chipmunk's away and rough justice. Chip bribes Dale with nuts to do home chores, but gets in debt to himself with the park mafia to get more nuts. Chip and Dale decide to have a vacation, but Chip's insistence to find a perfect place ends annoying Dale. And rough justice, Chip uses a policewoman's megaphone to scare bad guys away, but ends up getting into problems with Butch, who has stolen Pluto's bone. I love the gag in Rough Justice. Them going around the park messing with people with the megaphone cracked me up every time they did it. I have some issues with the idea that did we need a mafia chipmunk in a children's show? Like, what the hell?
I'm guessing they wanted another antagonist who was more on their level.
Yeah.
Because this show, if you take the mafia squirrels away, the only real antagonist they have besides just acts of nature itself is Butch the dog.
Right.
Who's more Pluto's antagonist. They just kind of get caught up in the fight between them.
Yeah.
So it actually does kind of work to have essentially a bully squirrel, for lack of better term, someone who is on their level and can, they can fight with, so to speak.
Sure.
But yeah, the fact that they made it a mafia, the way they made it a mafia squirrel is just, that's weird.
Yeah, I'm a little sensitive to this just because I do have kids, and it's not like they haven't seen worse, but it still feels like this show is even meant for more younger kids than mine. Like I said, I feel like the right age group is 3, 4, and 5, and do we need to be showing 3, 4, and 5-year-olds mafia characters? It's a weird thing to point at, and I'm not calling for it to be canceled or anything like that. But it was as a parent, I'm watching that going, interesting choice. Episode 5, Dog in the House, Cone Alone, and Highway to Hugs. Pluto gets stuck in Chippendale's tree, and Dale gets infatuated with him, making Chip jealous. Yeah, this would crack me up too.
That's a repeating thing, is that something comes along, Dale gets obsessed with it, and Chip is just stuck there trying to figure out, it's like, okay, how do we get back to normal?
Well, it's funny. Here, let me read the rest of these. Dale decides to use a street cone to trick Chip. He is sick, so he can pamper him like Pluto's pups, but soon begins to regret his decision the hard way after learning how cone chipmunks are pampered. And Highway to Hugs, Dale takes examples of birthday party thrown by a couple of bikers to make a busy Chip hug him, but to no avail. So yeah, Dog in the House, Cone Alone, and Highway to Hugs all kind of share the same theme, which is how much Chip and Dale love each other. And in certain cases, like, need for attention, and when they don't get that attention, how it drives them, to apoplexy. It was a really weird concept for this show. The Dog in the House one cracked me up because, like, imagine a giant head in your house, and how obtrusive and obstructive this would be, and you just want to get the head out, and there's somebody in your house going, "No, can we keep it?" And not even like, even if you can get past that, if you somehow learn to live with the giant head in your living room, the idea that now you've lost the attention of your loved one to this thing, and how frustrating that is. Like, that is an odd thing to play with in a children's cartoon.
It is. I don't honestly remember much about Dog in the House, though. Cone Alone and Highway to Hugs are the ones that stand out in this one. Yeah, Cone Alone is freaking hilarious. He sticks his head in the freaking street cone. He can get it out at any time.
It reminded me of the last episode of the first season of Wonderful World of Mickey, where Donald and Daisy have just about had enough of them, and they're like, so they fake being sick. They're like, let us take care of you. You're like, oh, this is even worse.
God, that's a classic. And Highway to Hugs was so interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's adorable that Dale hugs everyone, and then when he tries to hug Chip's like, I'll hug you later, I'm kind of busy.
Right.
But then you got the two bikers who, one of the gifts for one of them is a freaking flame embroidered bagpipe that shoots flames.
Right. Because they're bikers and fire is cool.
Of course, now I really want to see someone play a bagpipe like that.
I was going to say, you're going to show up to a con in cosplay and you just have like, a bagpipe flamethrower.
I will probably be kicked out by security.
Say, they may ask you to deflame the thing. When we went to a SabiCon, they were just like, look, and some of these props are not getting in. By the way, and you see this at cons, like people had like full wingspans and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty crazy. Like the amount of cumbersome accoutrement goes into creating some of these cosplays.
Oh, I saw one that was a full functioning cardboard Voltron.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah, they had to have 2 people walking with them to function.
I saw that too at WasabiCon, not the Voltron thing, but two people having to hold up somebody else's costume as they paraded around the WasabiCon.
They probably are being paid for it, or they're getting a share of the prize money when they win the costume contest.
I would assume there's or at least being given beer, something along those lines.
But I guess the Highway to Hugs one was also kind of weird because first it's adorable that the bikers see Dale crying, and they essentially adopt him and make him the mascot. And I'm not gonna lie, Dale is adorable with that little spike collar.
There's a lesson here. Don't take your loved ones for granted. Make sure you see them and they know that you're seeing them, or you will lose them. That is the moral of that story. And I'll tell you, it's so funny how like I watch stuff that are of all meant for all ages and varieties of shows. Literally the same concept in the show Heels. The wife does not feel seen by Stephen Amell, and so she starts to turn away from him. Same thing in Chip and Dale. See, Heels, Chip and Dale, same concept.
Well, I seriously doubt Stephen Amell's wife on the show had to worry about bikers deciding that they preferred her and then kidnapping her.
Okay, she doesn't get kidnapped, at least not yet.
Yeah, and again, that actually was weird. I didn't get why they suddenly decided they wanted Chip over Dale. Chip comes out to yell at them. It's like, you took my roommate. Give me back my roommate.
Because he's a badass, and they're badass bikers.
He's not a badass. He's a whiner.
Perceived as a badass.
So, yeah, either way, I just thought that was kind of weird.
All right, episode 6 here. The Hazelnut King, Egg Baby, and Mega Muscle Chip. While trying to steal a hazelnut from a birthday cake guarded by Pluto, Chip and Dale got trapped in an inflatable castle. And Dale believes he is the one and only king of the bouncy castle, so he becomes greedy and keeps all the nuts to himself. This is yet another one where Chip becomes a maniac. Egg Baby.
Dale becomes the maniac.
Yes. Chip adopts a lost egg, and while inside there was a dangerous baby snake, Chip still got this. What is so creepy?
I know.
Chip still treats him as his son, but soon realizes the reality of the situation when it eats him and Dale. And Mega Muscle Chip realizes he's very weak, but a remote-controlled robot toy wrestler found in the sandlot makes him the strongest of the park, making Dale feel usurped. I must talk about this Egg Baby one. It's a funny gag. It repeats a lot of the same stuff. But basically, like, oh, isn't this snake adorable? And the snake tries to eat everything. And eventually it eats Chip and Dale and they have to, fight their way out of the snake. But the snake is really, really cute until it goes all, what's the name of the python from the Jungle Book?
Ka.
Yeah, it goes all ka on you and its eyes go, blah, 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 and then it eats people. And you're like, the first few times it happens, it's kind of funny. It's a little startling. And then after that, it just becomes uncomfortable.
Well, it did kind of make me laugh because I didn't read the plot description before I started watching. So when they get the egg, it's probably not going to be a baby bird because that's too obvious. So you're like, oh, it's probably a turtle or something. And then when it hatches, you're like, that's a snake. Holy shit. And I won't lie. The scene where it yawns and Chip's like, wait a minute. And then he opens it up again and you can see Dale's head stuck in the snake's throat. I was like, that's just a touch disturbing.
I was going to say, that's horrifying.
Yeah. It's like, again, what age group is this show for?
I feel like we ask that a lot with the stuff that we're reviewing. It's like, okay, we're taking a deep dive into children's programming, and you and I are, settled in nicely, waiting for children's programming to take us in, and then we get there, we're like, what matter of horror is this? I was led astray.
No kidding. It's like Space Jam: A New Legacy was meant more for kids than this.
No kidding. It was written about that level. It's funny. Dialogue is such an important part of a drama, but you can definitely get a lot with inference and the way that Chip and Dale use inflection. Either way, when you're writing dialogue, a helpful thing would be Grammarly. Grammarly's AI-powered products help people communicate more effectively. Grammarly helps you write mistake-free on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and nearly anywhere else you write on the web. Grammarly corrects hundreds of grammar, punctuation, and spelling mistakes while also catching contextual errors, improving your vocabulary, and suggesting style improvements. To download Grammarly today, go to getgrammarly.com/W2Mnetwork. Again, it's getgrammarly.com/W2Mnetwork to download Grammarly for free. All right, moving on to episode 7 here. Struggling Duckling, Friends of the Family, and Top Dog. In an attempt to keep warm, Chip and Dale try to bond with ducklings to protect themselves from the harsh winter by using disguises. Well, Dale fits in. Chip has a distinctly hard time to join them and keeps getting kicked out. Chip and Dale become the thugs of the park mafia when they save its leader from a leaf vacuum cleaner and have fun with a spider-turned weapon. That cracked me up a lot. And then Top Dog, Dale defeats Pluto and Butch in a dog contest, making him like a dog, and Pluto loses his identity in the process. It's a bit esoteric for me. But his spirit is reignited when Butch captures Chip and Dale.
Because everyone knows chipmunks love dog treats.
Sure, like dogs love acorns. Using the
I think we're just going to have to assume at this point that everyone in the park will eat anything as long as the plot demands it.
Sure. The big thing that stuck out to me is when they put the spider on the wrist, they were using it as a weapon and just firing it at people at random. I laughed hard at that. That I enjoyed. What'd you think of these 3 shorts?
Struggling Duckling is the one I remember the most. That was kind of cute. I do love that, they immediately accept Dale, and Chip, of course, does. I love the little bit where Chip imagines himself doing this cool ice skating thing. And then, of course, he tries and immediately falls into the water. I just remember watching the fantasy he's having. I'm like, well, what was that line from the critic? Wow, you've got your power of self-delusion under control.
Funny. Episode 8, The Ghost. The Imperfect Crime, and Nut Soup. After being accidentally passed over and painted white in the street while everyone thinks he's dead, Dale uses Chip to give Butch, who was chasing them before Dale was painted white, a taste of his own medicine, making the dog believe he's a ghost. Yeah, I was mildly amused by that. The Imperfect Crime, a microphone tries to catch the chipmunk sound and ends up losing its cover. That makes Chip and Dale believe they are accidentally killed another chipmunk, so they tried to hide it from everybody. Again, why?
Again, who is this for?
Nut Soup. Chip and Dale compete themselves to impress the park residents with the best soup they've ever had and loved. Like I said, the ghost one as a gag setup and everything and execution cracked me up. Thank God it's only 7 minutes, because it once I laughed a couple of times, I was like, okay, move on from this. And then
and then we get the scene where Butch actually gets a heart attack,
right,
dies. His ghost comes back, and then when he sees that Chip and Dale were screwing with him, his ghost basically says, okay, all bets are off. He goes back into his body. His body freaking rises out of the grave.
It was very classic Tom and Jerry. I think
there's been a couple of Tom and Jerry shorts where they did that.
Yeah, Tom and Jerry always, was a bit more closer to the edge than anything Disney ever did. And so I almost feel like in the modern age of animation, they're looking back and going, hey, we missed an opportunity. These ones where they really tried to stay family friendly, and they look at their competitors and going, you know what, this time around, we're not going to be as safe. And I almost feel like I wish some of these cartoon outlets would maintain some semblance of innocence and not everybody competing for how close they can get to the edge. It's getting a little old.
Yeah. Then you, of course, got the Imperfect Crime, which there's, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but the scene where all the other animals show up for a party and they're actually sitting on the faux chipmunk rolled up in a blanket. I think that might have been an homage to the Hitchcock film Rope.
Okay.
Without going into too much detail about that movie, because I could sit here for hours talking about it. It's one of my all-time favorite Hitchcock films. These two guys kill a classmate to pull off a perfect crime, they stuff his body in a trunk,
Mhm.
and then they had people over for drinks, and they cover the trunk with a tablecloth, and they're using that trunk as a table to serve
Okay.
the food and drinks.
Gotcha.
So when they're sitting on there, I was like, "Are you guys actually homaging a Hitchcock film?"
It might be. Like I said, I think the word's out. Parents watch the stuff with their kids. They just don't passively put them. There is some element of look. Please, is Patton Oswalt said, "Look here, I got to get these towels in the dryer. For God's sake, just watch some television." But I think there's a lot more parents at home with their kids watching this stuff, and there may be some. There may be some thought to what if we put it, or it might just be something as simple as they did it to amuse themselves. Like we were given this gig of creating this gibberish cartoon show. Let's every once in a while throw something in there that makes us laugh. And if anyone else gets it, good for them. Episode 9, The Usual Nut Specs. An Evening with Clarice and Craft Craze. Chip finds 2 acorns shaped like him and Dale, so he decides to put them as a special ornament. But when they mysteriously disappear, he and Dale try to find the guilty suspects on the scene. Clarice, Pluto, and the Park Mafia's leader. Okay, whoever wrote that needs Grammarly.
Very much so. But again, Pluto apparently eats acorns. Though I'm not going to lie, just the fact that they find the 2 acorns on the same freaking stick that look like Chip and Dale, even that was just like...
It's a little creepy.
It is a little creepy. This, of course, is an homage to murder mysteries. We have seen this done in how many cartoons?
Which was amusing for the first few minutes of it. An Evening with Clarice. Dale falls head over heels with Clarice's way of life and invites her to dinner. While Dale has a good time, Chip gets scared by her manners. That cracked me up too. And then Craft Craze. When Chip accidentally destroys his home while mounting a picture, injuring himself in the process, Dale tries to fix the house by himself, using Chip's toolbox while getting annoyed by Chip's unwanted and dangerous help. This is the one that ends with the both of them, mummy wrapped in the hospital, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because every time Chip tries to do something, he makes it worse. He gets hurt. And apparently there is a Obamacare veterinary clinic next to the park because we frequently see them just go in there. It's like, and we're out. No, this one, that one was kind of funny. I think a lot of people can actually identify with both Chip and Dale in that one.
Sure.
Where we've had cases of we want to do something ourselves because we're pretty sure we can do it better. And the other one's going, no, I need to help you.
Yeah, right. Please don't help. You're only making it worse.
Exactly.
10, Too Late to Hibernate. Sorry, nut sorry. By the way, is there any more like ridiculous phrase in modern vernacular than sorry, not sorry? I just want to punch those people in the chin. That I just want
to punch the animators because after trying to binge this, I think I was about ready to say if I see another acorn, I'm going to shoot something.
I think between white women especially saying bougie and sorry, not. Oh, you've never heard that?
I have never heard that.
Okay, well, my wife's sick, so I don't want to bother her right now. But yeah, that was a popular one amongst her and her friends until I, mercilessly ridiculed her for it. Yeah, white gals ripping off black women saying bougie because that's where they got it from.
Never heard that before in my life.
Okay. When you're out and about doing cons in other cities, ask around. And then like I said, sorry, not sorry. Both of those just make me want to clothesline from hell somebody. Anyway, enough of my insanity.
Too late.
When accidentally breaking their smartphone, Chip decides to blame a careless Dale without proof. And then never trust a sausage is what my father always told me. Looking for a new couch, Chip and Dale want to buy a toy from Pluto's yard sale, but when they take a sniff to the sausage, Pluto wants an exchange. Hilarity ensues. Yeah, of the 3 of these, them fighting over the sausage is the one that cracked me up and the one that I remembered out of them. What do you think of episode 10?
Yeah, Too Late to Hibernate had some cute moments in it. It took me a while to figure out what Dale was trying to do. He's clearly made himself a bath, but it's tea. And I guess I didn't get it at first because he threw in some ice cubes. I'm like, are you trying to sit in a thing of iced tea? And then I realized, oh, he overheated and he threw the ice cubes in there to cool it down. Of course. Although I don't get why he has sugar in there unless the sugar is supposed to be like an Epsom salt kind of thing. And I'm probably overthinking the hell out of this.
Episode 11, Night of the Pizza Moon, Who's Your Granny, and Summer Sidekick Syndrome. Chip follows Clarice into the big city to find where she gets more food than he and Dale, but plans go awry when Dale gets madly obsessed over pizzas and gets in a fight with a Beagle Boy who just stole a pizza. I can see I'm remembering less of the details of these now. I can tell this is about when I started checking out.
I actually watched the last 2 episodes this morning before you called me because, again, I was like, I need a break, and I was just like, I'll watch the rest in the morning when I get up. And you weren't kidding. Whoever did write the Wikipedia pages descriptions really does need Grammarly because these sentences are horribly structured.
Yeah, I'm trying to like fix them as I read them. That's why I'm tripping over these.
Exactly. Yeah, Night of the Pizza Moon was kind of weird. Again, it's very strange how, Chip is like, there's food over here, but Dale's going, no, there's pizza over here, and I'm struggling to figure out why they can't just either go their separate ways.
Yeah, that seemed like a real like ultra fabricated conflict.
Yeah, it really was. And not to mention, I want to know if this is I know Europeans love hazelnut more than Americans do. I got living proof upstairs. But the constant use of hazelnuts on top of cakes and treats and everything in this show, again, I get the acorn overusage, even though it does become excessively overplayed.
Yeah.
But then again, but then I watch it, I'm like, who the hell decorates a cake with whole hazelnuts?
All right. Did we miss the one where they kept trying to find a spot on the beach, and Chip is trying to find his paradise, and they keep moving and moving and moving, and finally Dale like freaks out, like nothing, like at the end of it, I think at the beginning and then at the end, they do the same gag where everything is perfect, everything is luxurious, but then a leaf falls in Chip's view and he like upsets the whole thing and it drives Dale insane. Did we miss that one? Because that might have been my favorite.
That was episode 4, Chipmunks Away. We were too busy talking about the park mafia and the policewoman's megaphone.
Oh, I need to go back to that then, because like that was another one where Chip is obsessing over their perfect vacation spot, and Dale's trying to accommodate him. And it's so funny because it's like, as weird as this is going to sound, that idea resonated with me. Like, if you've ever been with somebody who like nothing makes them happy and they keep moving you. I got into a discussion with my wife about this once because like we had a beach vacation and she picked a spot on the beach. I'm like, great, I just want to settle in. I want to relax and read my book or whatever. And I, sort of detach from the world. And like, we're down for about 10 minutes and she's like, let's move someplace else. And like kept doing that to me. I'm like, what the hell, man? And then at the end, when Dale finally has had enough of it and Chip breaks down and cries, as he often does throughout this series, like that actually made me really sad. It's weird that like emotionally that resonated with me. Because not every time Chip cries in this that I get moved by it, but that one did. That one touched me.
Did kind of make me laugh how Dale insists on bringing their nuts with them, but of course he just stuffs them all in his cheeks. Yeah. So every time it was like, clunk, clunk, move, spit. Right.
That was a funny gag. Last one, we got our first appearance of Donald Duck. We have Delivery Duck, Dark in the Park, and Chop and Dale. The Chipmunks discover the wonder of food delivery, annoying Donald as long as he brings the food to their house in the tree while avoiding the Beagle Boys. That cracked me up. Like, some of these, it didn't really matter what time and space you did them. They were universally identifiable and relatable. And then there's this one, which absolutely plays with a very modern thing of food delivery, which who knows how much longer that'll be with us if something else doesn't come along and replace it. So it was very of the moment kind of a gag, which sometimes works with modern cartoons and sometimes is kind of a miss. This I thought was funny. Like them constantly ordering food and Donald having to run up to the tree and bring it to him was making me laugh.
There are some elements in the background that really, unfortunately, do date this. I think the most obvious one is we see most of the delivery guys in the background for whenever they were getting, like the episode where they were following Clarice around, or the one where they're trying to get the nutcracker from the postal worker. The delivery guy is delivering everything while riding one of those battery powered unicycles,
right,
that have become massively popular. Or I guess they become massively popular. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever ride one. And there's little bits like in the very first episode, the person who's knitting is in a full punk attire. And I'm like, oh my God, they found it. They got a hipster knitting. So there are a few elements. I mean, hell, even their TV is a smartphone.
All right.
Which is cute. It's very cute.
Sure. What do you call it? When Donald was stranded in the park at night, Chip and Dale tried to get him to safety from a mob of hungry raccoons. I think this was the very last one I was watching this late at night. I don't remember it. And then Dale accidentally gets powers from a chainsaw and begins to work with Donald in chopping the old trees in the park, while Chip gets profit on selling refuge to the animals that lost their homes in the process. Yeah, I passed out before this was all over. So take me home, Alexis. Tell me about the rest of this episode. Other than, I will say this, it was nice to see Donald show up in at least one of these.
It was, but I'm not going to lie. I think the show would have done better if they had actually put Donald in a few more and spaced it out. Instead of just one whole episode with 3 Donald Duck shorts.
We got a question here from good friend and Eternals hater, Chris Bailey. He says, what's your favorite iteration of Chip and Dale through the years? So I guess he's referring to maybe like Classic versus Rescue Rangers, something along those lines. And I'm going to go ahead and say I watched Rescue Rangers a little bit, but the old Classic, mixing it up with Donald, like I said, Nut Butter from earlier, that's my Chip and Dale.
I am torn between both the Classic and Rescue Rangers. I was brought up on the Disney afternoon. That was my generation, and I loved Rescue Rangers. But the classic cartoons always have a special place for me. So when you're talking about how much I love the characters just as themselves, it would be the classics. If you're talking about with the nostalgic rose-colored glasses, it would be the Rescue Rangers.
That's fair. We covered this at the top of the show, but Chris might have missed it at the time.
Chris, aren't you paying attention to the whole thing, man? You're slacking.
We talked a little bit about the forthcoming live action Rescue Rangers, and I think you and I are both like, we're kind of excited, but also kind of trepidatious, like not sure how this is going to work. Yeah.
Well, again, I'm sorry, but the live action adaptations of animations, you would normally say it's been hit and miss, but no, it's been far more misses than hits.
Yep. When Disney Plus launched, we did 2 things almost immediately. The first thing was Alexis and I reviewed Lady and the Tramp. The other thing was The Mandalorian. And I'll tell you, Alexis and I both we were very 50-50 on Lady and the Tramp.
I think the saving grace for us on The Lady and the Tramp was how well the show promoted rescues instead of, breeders.
All right, so that is our review of Chip and Dale Park Life. I assume we'll keep going with this if they do another season of it. I haven't heard one way or the other if they are. But look, was this an amusing ride with my kid? Did I enjoy most of it? Sure. It's harmless fun. Not everything has to be a 1 or a 10. Right there in the middle. I was amused. I laughed. I cried. I hurled. Your thoughts?
Like we said, do not try to binge this whole thing at once. Your brain will go numb from the chipmunk squeaks. It is enjoyable in smaller doses. Again, the animation is really, really good. Really enjoyed it. Storylines are done very well. Again, for being a nonverbal show, they do a really good job at making sure that anyone can understand what is going on. So I think this is a good show for little kids. And it's a good show to watch with your children, again, just in smaller increments. I can't find anything about whether or not it's going to get another season or if they're, going to do more episodes. I cannot find anything on it. So it's up in the air if this continues.
I think tomorrow is Disney Plus Day. Maybe they'll say something then. All right. So Alexis, like 6 months ago, was like, or maybe even longer, was like, hey, we should do a watch along to the Roger Rabbit shorts. And I think initially I said, hey, let's do that with Space Jam. And then, I was going on vacation that day, so we didn't have time. I said, and I honestly thought we were done. We would be done with this 30 minutes ago, but I promised we would do this, and I want to get this done and not have to do a separate episode on it. So we are going to right now for you as a special bonus content. We are going to do a live. I can't project it on the screen. I'll get copyrighted and community struck from YouTube. We're going to do a live watch along of the 3 Roger Rabbit shorts. You want to explain what these are?
Well, first of all, I actually suggested this when you went into the hospital.
Okay.
You were getting treatment for your cancer, because I was looking for stuff to cheer you up, and I was like, "Here, let's do a watch along with this, because I knew this would make you laugh."
Okay.
And I was like, this doesn't take any research or anything. Let's just watch Roger Rabbit get the crap beat out of him and have a good laugh. I was honestly just trying to cheer you up while you were going through your treatments.
Okay, fair enough. We were also, I think at the time, the content that we were producing was a little bit different. You had remarked about this in one of the previous reviews. We were doing things like trailer reacts. We were doing a lot more like audio commentaries, and we're still doing the audio commentaries, but in a different way. So at the time, there was a lot, Jesse and I were doing a lot of like Metal Hammer of Doom extras where we would watch music videos and comment on them. So this was sort of in that vein. And I just don't have time to do that kind of extra stuff at this point. So, but I wanted to do these. I know you wanted to talk about them. So tell me about these shorts. What exactly are they? What was the purpose of them?
Well, okay. I am hoping I don't have to explain what Who Framed Roger Rabbit was to our general audience.
I hope not.
Yeah. My all-time favorite film, just been my favorite movie for as long as I can remember. Favorite movie as a kid, favorite movie as an adult. And they did release 3 separate animated shorts featuring Roger Rabbit and Baby Herman, in the style of what we saw in the opening scene of the movie. The idea that these 2 are characters who film cartoons together, so these are just 2 of the shorts that they would have done together in that world. It really is sad, actually, that we didn't get to see more Roger Rabbit, because unfortunately there was a rights dispute between Disney and Amblin Entertainment. You probably remember Spielberg was a producer on the movie. That's actually where we got Bonkers. Do you remember Bonkers from the Disney afternoon at all?
Vaguely.
It was essentially the exact same plot as Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You got a cartoon bobcat who was formerly an animation star who joins the police force and works with a gruff detective who is not happy about being saddled with a toon sidekick. And they work a lot of crimes that, go between the toon world and the real world. Of course, the whole thing is animated, so it's a little weird, but that was made because someone at Disney said, we have this idea. Well, we can't use Roger Rabbit. Fine, make an original character.
Gotcha.
But it gave Jim Cummings more work, so I'm not going to complain about that.
All right. So the first one is, what's these called again? All right. So the first one is Tummy Trouble, and then Roller Coaster Rabbit, and then Trail Mix Up. And like I said, we're just going to kind of play these back to back and talk about them as we watch. You ready?
How are we doing? I mean, you told me you were going to put this up, but we weren't going to stream it. So is this going to be on the screen that I can see, or how is this going to work?
I have it playing on my phone.
Well, you should have told me so I'd have a minute to pull it up on mine.
Sorry.
Crying out loud. Prep work? What's that?
We'll call it in the ring, kid. Just follow me. I gotcha. So real quick while she pulls these up. So anyway, these the Roger Rabbit shorts, they were originally attached to the theatrical releases of several Disney and Amblin films. There's a 4th one, Hair in My Soup, that was canceled during pre-production, with 3 more, Clean and Oppressed, Beach, Blanket Bay, and Bronco Bustin' Bunny were all in the planning stages, and they were canceled. I think the other gag with these is that they all end with Roger Rabbit like huffily walking off set.
Well, that is how all of these shorts end, with it being revealed. Yeah, they're on the set.
Right. All right. So, let me know when you're ready, and I'll hit play.
Okay, got it at starting at 0. Screen's up. I just got to hit the play button.
1, 2, 3. Press play. All right, here we go. We have the classic Disney logo here. I have a shirt with the Disney logo with that font, but it just says Malt Whiskey instead of Walt Disney.
Of course you do. I really wish that more cartoon or more films would stick with this classic opener. Now it feels like every animated or every Disney film has to have its own version of the
Mhm.
castle. I think the only time I really appreciated the change was the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean movie where you could see the mermaids jumping out of the water, which is
Yeah,
kind of a nice touch.
That is a nice touch. So tell me about this. You being an animation historian, when and why, and who was the first to do the gag where you never see the full body of the adult in the room, where it's always just the legs?
I've actually never done research on that. I should look into that. I'm not 100% certain.
Because we know we saw it in the Tom and Jerry cartoons. We'd see it again in Muppet Babies. And so it's kind of a staple of certain animated shows and whatnot where you just see legs. I'm curious. I would love to know why they made that a choice. And so, all right. So the tummy trouble here is that baby Herman has swallowed the entire rattle like you do.
He hasn't swallowed the rattle yet.
Oh, on mine he has.
Okay, we were clearly behind. No, he just got the rattle now.
Okay.
So, great. Now we're
right.
going
to... Nope. Just tell me when Roger Rabbit busts into the hospital. That'll hit play again.
Okay, sounds good. I just noticed, I don't think I've ever noticed before, but the Big Bad Wolf's 3 children were framed in a picture in the background there. That's an interesting touch.
Oh, that's a funny little
nowhere.
Easter egg.
Okay, so there's 3, 2, 1. Door slammed open.
All right. And there's Roger Rabbit with a bouquet of flowers begging for forgiveness. How could he have let this happen?
You ever notice the skeleton picture in the background of Mickey Mouse?
No, I didn't notice that. That's wicked. Okay, so I guess...
yeah, it's like, and there's the kitchen sink.
The rattle's out.
Hey.
That was quick. And it's floating off into the atmosphere, which is interesting because it's... there it is. It finally... Oh, no.
And now it's down the wrong throat.
Yep, now Robert swallowed it.
Rabbit brain peanut close up in the background. Samba.
His butt rattles. Fantastic.
Hey, who doesn't appreciate a good conga?
Yes. So, of course, Roger is now mistaken for baby Herman, like you do.
And I'm embarrassed to admit, but I just noticed there was a sign that said proctology there, but I have paused this before to try to read all of the signs that he's going through. I don't get the Burbank.
It's where Disney is at Disney Studios.
I know that was a running joke with you and me for a while. The anesthetic slam on the head. And of course, our Jessica Rabbit cameo.
Given so our discussion earlier, you can't make Jessica Rabbit today, can you?
No. No, you cannot. Jessica Rabbit cannot exist in this day and age.
No. Unfortunate. So we're trying to do surgery on Roger Rabbit here.
I love this joke. Let go of the cotton. Yes, swab.
Honk honk. Terrific.
Tongue depressor. And people wonder why I'm scared of the doctor. A bicarb.
No cartoon surgery is complete without a chainsaw.
Strong union.
Oh, here comes baby Herman. He's chasing the bottle. Yes. So is that an iron lung? Is that what that's... Oh, no.
It says radioactive. I don't really know exactly what it's supposed to be, but I also do not know medical appliances like at all.
I was going to say, it looked like... That's why I thought it was
atomic
an iron lung.
hair splitter.
I'm going to go ahead and say that there's not an atomic hair splitter in the hospital.
Ow. Like I said, this is just grade A slapstick Tex Avery work at his finest.
Yeah. Tex Avery didn't do any of these though, right?
No, of course not. Okay. But it's clearly inspired. There's a little bit, I think, of all of the classic animators' work in these. Mm-hmm. You see influence. You just watching the influence. You could see style influence of Chuck Jones, Friz Freleng, Bob Clampett, and definitely Tex Avery.
I was gonna say, so far all I've seen is Tex Avery here. This feels almost like a droopy dog, or a Wolfie cartoon.
Shh.
Yep, and there goes the
There's
rattle.
Rattle again.
To the parents
I
out
love this
there,
bit here.
this should go without saying, but a diaper does not make a good parachute.
There's your Droopy.
There's Droopy. I need to be around here somewhere.
Not fast enough.
What cracks me up about this is knowing that Baby Herman is actually like a middle-aged, grumpy man.
Yeah. Because we all know hospitals just keep piles of ethanol.
Yep.
And there goes the rattle again.
Wow, this feels like a classic animator's just dream come true. Like you can do anything you want in these cartoons. Every gag you've ever thought of, every ode to a gag you've ever thought of, and there's no limitations because this feels. And
there's
like
the part that will never change.
Yeah, this feels like Journey playing the greatest hits here.
Exactly. And gulp. And here comes the tie into the movie.
There it is. So it's funny. I got the impression that they were going to cut the cartoon short and then have him walk off set, not end it the way that they are, which it's amusing. I just thought they messed up a take or something and got frustrated and walked off set instead of it's naturally ending, yelling cut, and then you just kind of see the aftermath.
I just love all the little Easter eggs, like you got the bottles there on the cart that Jessica was pushing. You could see the backgrounds they were pushing out of the way, including the map for when they were blown up into the atmosphere.
I half expected them to pan right and see Bugs Bunny sawing off Florida.
South America, take it away.
All right, so next one is Roller Coaster Rabbit, and I'm now getting the Touchstone Pictures logo. Where are you at? Matt, Baby Herman, Raja, are you with me?
Well, that's weird. Roller Coaster Rabbit's not on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, no, I'm watching these on YouTube.
Oh, that's why. That's why mine was a little delayed. Okay. Hang on a second. Let me pull up in the right search engine here.
And then I'm just after the Roller Coaster Rabbit logo has gone away.
All right, just give me a second here. Is this the 8-minute one or the 7:51-minute one?
7:51. While you're doing that, let me tell you about another sponsor of ours, another thing that we're doing for our great audience members, and that is a giveaway of the Amazon Music Unlimited service. Yes, sir, Bob. The link in the description is getamazonmusic.com/W2M network. If you click it, you fill out the information, you get a free 30-day trial of Amazon Music Unlimited on us. You can stream all you want, get all the new albums. We use it all the time on the Metal Hammer of Doom. It's great. If you like it, you keep it. You pay the monthly fee. If not, you cancel it. No fuss, no muss. All right, you ready?
Yeah, you said the maroon cartoon logo just showed up.
Okay, I'm at 25 seconds.
Okay, hang on a second. I can... Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1, press
go.
Balloon, State Fair.
Here you go to state fairs very often?
They have them here in Florida, and we've been to them. My wife doesn't love them, so we don't go as often as everybody else here in Florida. Though the kids do get the day off of school for it.
Last time I went to a state fair was actually Andre and I went up to Minnesota to visit some friends, and the state fair was going on at the same time. And the big takeaway I remember from that was, oh my God, my arteries hurt just looking at all the fried food.
Oh, that's the best part of it. I'll tell you, we had a state fair drive-through last year, and that was when I was going through all the problems with my jaw. And I've never been so angry as my kids and my wife walking into the house with all this great state food fare from this drive-through they went through, and me not being able to eat any of it.
Actually, part I loved the most was, yep. Okay, so once again, he's in charge of watching the baby wall. Right. Mother dear is taken off, and now we got the conflict with the balloon.
Why was he painting her nails?
Basically, his way of saying, I don't know. It was just his way of sucking up.
Gotcha.
Anyone who has taken their children to a park knows that the most annoying thing to get them is a balloon. Seriously, before I went to Disney World, I watched one of those, like, best souvenirs to get, worst souvenirs to get kind of thing. And they openly said one of the worst souvenirs to get is a balloon. Like, it's not worth it. Oh, and you think you're doing good by tying it onto your kid's stroller? Well, guess what? Every other parent thinks that, so it's not going to help.
So the plot of this
cigar. Play tune.
Woohoo! Yeah, you can't get away with that joke either anymore.
Definitely not.
So the baby has crawled into a game where you throw darts at balloons, trying to get a balloon back. Oh.
Definitely don't see that game at carnivals anymore.
My phone fell over. Just keep going.
I love that gang. I got a headache, but it's just a little one. There's another carnival ride you don't get anymore with the shotguns. Too many parents worry that their kids are going to pull their guns in the wrong direction, like what's happening to Roger there.
What time are you up to?
2:49. I can pause it if you want.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I might be a little behind you now, but
oh my God, the tongue is full of holes from the shotguns too.
My God, it looks like baloney. All right, so the baby is now trying to get this balloon, and he has crawled into these gears.
And now Roger's getting sucked into the gears. Owie.
Yep, now it goes. God.
I know it's the state fair, but the security's coming across more like a freaking just regular traveling carnival. Prize bull, keep out.
Baby!
Thank you, Roger. We don't need to know that what you're covered in smells bad. Minor thing, but I love the animation here. Just it sounds weird, but like the textures, the way that Roger's grabbing the bull's nose here, and the way it's just kind of bouncing around a bit. It sounds bizarre, but I just really appreciate the little extra things of how you can see the hand pushing on the bull's nose, and you can see how it pushes back.
It's an attention to detail that makes the watching it something you might not even notice at first.
And there's that attention to detail that's not going to get aired on kids' TV anymore.
I
do love immediately Roger's like, I'm a vegetarian, don't hurt me. The barbed wire. You a roller coaster fan?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as I've gotten older, I've realized I have to do yoga after I do a roller coaster, otherwise my body hates me. Oh, there's Flora. It's like, again, Bugs Bunny needs to saw that state off. And again, we get what is actually a pretty fun little bit of first-person perspective on the roller coaster.
It's pretty amusing.
Yeah, you actually kind of want to just bounce around with it. Don't stand up.
God, this thing will give you vertigo.
We mean it.
Stare at it too long.
I want to know how the hell the roller coaster fell apart. That wasn't even Roger's doing. It just broke.
Look, Indiana Jones here in the Temple of Doom.
Ugh.
And they right off. That's a very Tex Avery deal right there.
He did that in a previous cartoon.
Yeah. And there's Jessica, our obligatory Jessica.
I love that even Roger is like, I don't get the point of that joke. Oh my God, the dip joke. I'm sorry, that was just a little bit of brilliance. I love that. Again, it's like, how is this roller coaster falling apart? Roger had nothing to do with it breaking. This thing just is horribly unstable.
This roller coaster goes on forever.
Yeah, name me one roller coaster that lasts this long in real life.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I hate to say it. Every time they break into real world there, it actually just kind of knocks you back a little bit because you get the
Okay,
fast
see,
pace.
that when they came out of the film and into real life again. This is what I was talking about.
Because of course we've got a fireman on the set because Lord knows Roger probably needs it.
Is that Steve Buscemi?
No.
What does it look like?
I thought it looked like John Waters.
You know what? Even better. Yeah, John Waters.
You ever notice the two women in the background who were clearly just being told to gush that they were in the presence of Roger Rabbit?
All right, let's go to the next one. Last one here. This is Roger Rabbit short number 3, Trail Mix-Up.
All right. The 9-minute 10 one, or
I don't know. I've got a commercial. I don't do ad blocker.
I don't either.
Let's see here. 8 minute 53 seconds. That's the one I've got.
All right, just give me a second here to get up to the same level as you.
Okay. I'm at 18 seconds.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1, press play. A maroon cartoon. What a maroon.
I just love that opening shot there, though, with Roger dangling off the cliff and, and Herman's got the axe.
Yes, a very serene scene, which I'm sure will be
ruined immediately.
Ruined immediately, yeah.
We'll leave the little detail, the raccoon getting into the picnic basket. Yellow stain. I don't think I've ever heard that gag done before again.
Mm-hmm. Very telling about our culture, though. They're like, you know, we have a national park and it's just being polluted and destroyed by picnic goers. He brought a vacuum. Nice. All right. So the setup to all of these is that Herman, something happens to him and he cries. Is that what's happening here?
Well, the setup of the joke is always that Mother Dear here is going off on her own and Roger's in charge of watching Herman, and something is going to distract Herman long enough that Roger is going to, you know, have trouble getting to him. And here she's going hunting.
Right.
And yeah, I love it. It's just, what's the line here? It's like, taking baby Herman hunting would be dangerous. And Roger goes, well, leaving him here with me's no picnic.
Nice. Rabbit season opens today. Perfect.
Great little touch there with him using his ears to make it look like the coonskin cap. That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lord knows we need any park ranger would be wearing those shoes.
Yes. It makes sense to wear your high heels in the national park. It's got to be Jessica Rabbit, no?
Well, of course.
Yeah, she is. Sexy park ranger.
In heels.
I've seen many films open this way. Not the kind that we can talk about without being demonetized, though.
Not the kind you could talk about in the presence of your son. Is he still in the background?
No, he's back in his room. After the third time I told him he's not on this podcast, he went away. No truer truths have ever been spoken that a woman drives a man to set himself on fire.
I love this bit with the bug. It's like, I feel so in tune. Yeah, this is so many people I know that they say they love being in the wilderness, but the minute that something actually touches them, get it off, get it off, get it off.
Yeah. And he's, of course, killed everything around him.
Yeah.
All right. So at least this is a little bit different than the last two. We're not trying to get a rattle out of the kid's mouth that the child wants desperately, nor are we trying to get him a balloon. This is just the child causing havoc in the woods.
Well, not to mention, there's multiple things in the woods that we can use to have to grab the child's attention. It doesn't have to be just one thing. First, it's the bug, then it's the bees. And, of course, we all know where this is going.
Yep. Boom, right on the head.
Do not disturb the bees. Thank you. I love that. Again, the background animators put so many little details into this. It's brilliant.
Hey, you.
I want to say there was a little early computer animation there used to create the bee plane.
Yeah, I was going to say
not the biplane, the biplane.
I knew as soon as I saw the bunch of bees, I was wondering what thing they were going to form. Would it be a fist, a boxing glove, or turned into a biplane? And there's our obligatory droopy dog.
Yeah.
Reference.
And here comes our other character for this, the beaver. Oh my god, when he bites the tail, you feel that. I love he spits up the cotton. And of course, no matter how good Roger tries to be,
I enjoy the fact that when Roger's chasing him, he's not yelling out Herman, he's just yelling out baby. Baby, come back.
Yeah. Not the sawmill. Oh my god.
God, take a drink when you've heard in a cartoon, parody or otherwise, the phrase "not the" used. Ugh.
Oh my god. Okay, and yeah, well, it's so funny because you sometimes wonder, you realize that, with Roger wasn't there, baby would fall victims because he actually is helping, but of course, everything he does bounces back at him, and ow. Like I said, this stuff is just grade A slapstick. I love it. You gotta feel sorry for the poor beaver that's getting dragged around by his tail now.
We have a log flume. Whee!
I do love a good log flume ride.
It's poor beaver. Leave the like Elmira here. Leave the beaver
exactly
alone.
That's what I was just saying.
Whee! How has this not been turned into a ride at Disney?
Wasn't Splash Mountain kind of like this?
Yeah, this exact thing, Roger Rabbit's log flume. I guess because this is not very well known.
Roger Rabbit, unfortunately, doesn't really exist at Disney parks anymore.
Yeah. Am I correct? Aren't they doing like a remake of Roger Rabbit of some kind?
I swear to God, if they do, I am getting a pitchfork.
I thought I read something about that. I have to go back and do some research. I know I was looking at the anniversary. There's been talk about wanting to do an on trial for Roger Rabbit for a couple of years now, and me trying to find a good date to do that would be a reason to, like an anniversary or something. And that's where
old predictable geyser.
I know, like, there's been Roger Rabbit comics. Apparently the original film was actually based on a book.
It was called Who Censored Roger Rabbit, which
right.
Hold on, oh my god, I love this bit here with Mount Rushmore. This is great. I swear to God, I think the startled faces there were designed by Tim Burton. He was an animator for Disney for a while. I swear the way their eyes shoot up like that is like that. That looks so much like the Large Marge bit from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Like that has to be a leftover Tim Burton thing.
That's one we need to talk about some days. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not on trial. That's you and Comer.
No, on trial is anyone that shows up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. That there is no. That's my. Really no. Let me take that back. There is no "that's my show" anymore. At this point, it's anything's up for grabs for anyone that's available. All right, folks. So it's just sometimes I do things as on trial, sometimes I do them as triple features, or it kind of depends on how much I want to talk about any individual movie. All right, folks, that is our review and our watch along for Chippendale Park Life and the 3 Roger Rabbit shorts. Like, comment, subscribe wherever you find us. We're on any podcatcher you can find. The big ones, obviously, YouTube, Spotify, etc. We're also Apple Music, Spotify. We're also on YouTube. We stream live on Twitch. So wherever you found us, we're w2mnet.com. That's our website where all of our shows are posted. A lot of old stuff is being reposted that never made the site before. So as of today, I'm taking my kids to the Fathom event tonight for the Rocky IV director's cut with 40 more minutes of extra footage, which I'm excited about. So in honor of that, I reposted the Rocky IV soundtrack review and the on trial we did for Rocky IV. It is Veterans Day as we're recording this. Myself and Andrew Graham reviewed Band of Brothers from HBO. So that was a lot of fun. Very sad, but also fun to talk about. And then in addition to which, tonight, myself and Ronnie Adams will be reviewing Heels for the first season on Star, starring former Arrow star Stephen Amell. We've also got a review of Eternals and Titans Season 3. No boxing coverage this weekend. Instead, we'll be reviewing, allegedly, myself and Harry Broadhurst will be reviewing XPW Rebirth and House of Glory, Will Ospreay versus Amazing Red. And this just got put on the calendar. I will be having my friend Elizabeth Faust on the show. She did the feminist perspective on Black Widow. I wrangled her into doing something that I have been wanting to do for a while now. It was just trying to figure out who to do it with. And she is actually a musical theater person. She's one of the directors my daughter works with in her musical theater group. So I got her on the talk Tick, Tick, Boom. There's something about Jamie and Diana the musical. And we'll be doing that Sunday night. So check that out again, w2mnet.com, wherever you can find it on any podcatcher or YouTube. Go ahead, Alexis, do your plugs and we'll get out of here.
All right. Well, first of all, we are going to be recording soon our next edition of Tripped Up Trivia. We're going to be recording on the 20th. The theme is, well, fitting well enough into this. It's going to be Disney. This is to fit in actually to the release of Encanto that's coming out soon. We're going to be dividing it up into questions about Disney movies, Disney TV shows, and Disney parks. So if you enjoyed watching this because you know your facts about Chip and Dale and Roger Rabbit, go ahead, drop us a comment on Facebook or Twitter. Let us know if you're interested in playing. We're always looking for more contestants. Mark, your wife will be sitting in as one of the contestants on this, right?
Yep. And if you can't find 3 other people, then I will be the other one.
I think David Wright said he's interested, and I hopefully one of the animators actually that I work with, I've helped him with the illustrations for his children's books. Actually, he wanted originally to do the Warner Brothers Animation month, but he had to back out because of I don't remember. He just had to back out. But he is interested in this one, so I need to hit him up and make sure he still wants to play on this.
Right. So myself and my daughter are on the bench, willing to play coach if you need us. But if you can get 3 other people, then yeah, I'm just going to let my wife play by herself.
All right. Sounds like fun. She does know she can't phone a friend, right? You can't sit in the background yelling out. What is happening? You're doing that on the 20th. Yeah, that's the same night as Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter. If you don't need me, I'll be too busy watching that than to help my wife. I have no idea what that is, but whatever.
It's boxing.
Of course.
What'd you call it? Sports ball once? I don't know anything about the sports ball.
That's what I call any sport that I have no idea what the hell's going on.
All right. So I hear you make jewelry and paint houses. Yes?
Yes, I do. Hence the dead chipmunk rolled up in the mattress. Yes, Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic. We're getting ready for our Black Friday sale. Everything in both our Etsy and handmade at Amazon shop. I almost said eBay. I don't sell on eBay. I don't know why that word keeps popping up in my dialect. But everything on Etsy and handmade at Amazon for both of our shops will be 20% off. We're also going to be starting our charity drive from Black Friday to Christmas Eve. Every single order that is placed, every individual order, we will donate $5 to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So again, you can find us on Etsy, Handmade at Amazon. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll be posting more notices, trying to get more items fully stocked on the shops, ready to go. So anytime that I have not sold my soul to Mark, I will be up in my office slaving away.
All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. For those of you that turn into the live stream, and if you're hearing this after the fact, again, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe wherever you found us. We appreciate you. Until next time, be well, be safe, and behave.